got to tell y'all about this thing called life. You know I got to share it. See, there's this thing called life. I got to tell y'all. I guess if you want to get into the NDE now, we could hear that story.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
very fascinating.
Yeah, it is a little bit different. I think in the beginning, I wasn't sure what it was until I got messages. But let me start from when I was about 28 years old. I was diagnosed with hypertension, which was, we had no idea why. I think it was just genetic or hereditary. Still couldn't figure out. And I basically changed my lifestyle I didn't want to go on medication. And yeah, changed my lifestyle. I was 28, didn't want chronic hypertensive medication. And then I had it under control up until my pregnancy. With my pregnancy, it just skyrocketed and it didn't come down after that. Obviously, hypertension affects your heart, but at the time my NDE happened, I didn't know I had a heart condition. So it was like a build up to having a heart condition. So on the day of my NDE, I was with a friend. We went to a local park where we do a lot of hiking and, just having a picnic. And the hiking gates weren't open yet. And we decided just to, wait it out, have something to eat and just relax before we go for a hike. And I wasn't feeling well that morning at all, but I didn't say anything to my friend. I just thought like it's lightheadedness or something going on. And yeah, I was laying on the blanket and all of a sudden I sat up and I knew I was no longer in the park. And that freaked me out because my friend was now like no longer with me. She was no longer sitting next to me. And I thought, oh my God, and there was not a single person in sight. So that really freaked me out. And I sat up and I thought, okay, let me just calm down. There was that internal panic where something's wrong, but you just can't put your you can't put your foot on it. And I sat up and I thought to myself, I asked myself, where am I and what happened to me? I don't know why I asked that question, what happened to me? But that was the first message I got telepathically was, you died. And I said, I didn't even question where like it came from. And then I answered it telepathically, like it was a long lost friend. And I said, oh yeah. I'm sure I'm dead. It has to be. And then the telepathic message was, it was your heart. And I said, oh my gosh, of course. Yeah, this makes sense. This makes complete sense. And next thing I know, as I said that, I think they gave me, there's no time on the other side. It felt like they gave me 5 minutes just to soak it in and just to accept that I was gone. So I sat there thinking for about 10 or 5 minutes with this internal panic just building up. And I thought, wow, my family is going to be devastated. Yeah, I don't know how they're going to cope without me. And as soon as I said that, it felt like the reality changed. My reality changed. So it was timelessness, but then I saw this glitch in the sky. So I was still sitting on the grass. And when I looked up, I could see like this, just a glitch, like the sky didn't align. There was just like this piece of the sky, and then it was just not aligning. And I thought that is so strange. And I knew that I was in a different realm after that. So then, yeah, still panicking, taking it all in. And I got the second message. It was, you need to come with me. And I knew that it was going to be, I don't know, not like the final place. It felt like I was going to a final place. This wasn't the final place. Wow. And so I felt like I was now leaving the realm that I was in. I was still physical. I was still completely physical. I could see my hands. I could see the glitch in the sky. But I knew the realm I was going to go to was I'm going to have to leave my body behind. So at the time, I didn't know they were going to test me first before I got to the final place. it felt like I was lying down when I left my body, but I was actually just sitting up. So it felt like I was just lifting out through the top of my head. It's a bit weird. So I was kind of like lifting through the top of my head, and I was now in a hospital bed, which absolutely didn't make sense because I thought I was going to another place, like the final place.
So where they took you,
Yeah.
took you, then you're in the hospital bed now.
I'm now in a hospital bed. And they said to me, you need to say goodbye to everyone. And I couldn't obviously do that. And I could see myself lying on a hospital bed. And this was in the future because my daughter was about 13 years old. But at the time, she was only about 3 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, on Earth, she was only 3, but I was in the future and my daughter was 13 years old. And as I was lying in the hospital bed, I started walking around where my family members were around the bed. And I started whispering in their ear, like, oh my gosh, it's going to be fine. I'm actually fine. And you guys are going to be okay. And I told them how much I loved them. And by the way, the beings that were with me, they were the ones giving me messages. So they were like, guiding me, like, tell your family that you're ready to go and you'll be fine. And that's what I did. And I think the hardest part for me was saying goodbye to my daughter at the time. That was very hard. And I just told her, like, I'm so peaceful. And I think that when you're in a coma or on your deathbed, and you're saying goodbye to everyone around you, they can sense you. Even if you're out your body, they can sense you, because the minute I said to my daughter, I said to her goodbye, she had this little grin, just like, oh, okay, like, oh, things are going to be okay with my mom. I'm going to be okay. And then I knew, you know what, they can actually feel my presence, even though my body was on the lying on the hospital bed. So once that scene was over, I felt this absolute pulling, like another pulling. And this was very different. Have you ever, I'm not sure if you've ever been under anesthetic before in a hospital.
I'm sure I have.
It's like when they put you under anesthetic and you try to fight it a little bit, but your eyes just start closing. And it's this calm, peaceful sleep that you're going to. It feels like you're leaving. And that's the feeling I felt after the hospital scenario. Then I felt, okay, this is going to be the final place. And that's where I went. I went to the light. It was an instant. There was no tunnel for me. There was no, someone waiting for me on the other side. It was just completely peaceful bliss. I did go through this black void that everyone talks about. This is black void. And then after the black void, it was just this bright light. It was beautiful. It was blissful. I just wanted, it was like just, if I had a body, I would be standing there just taking it all in. And, but everyone that passed away was there. Everyone. And not in physical form, but their souls were all there. And when all these lights came together and they made up the bright light, and I thought, wow, I'm part of this big bright light. It felt amazing. It was just absolute bliss. And I had another question from the beings, and they were like, do you want to stay here? And I said, of course I want to stay here. Yes, I'm staying for sure. And then in a split second, I thought to myself, I was like, wow, wait, I have a daughter that's still on Earth. And I had to remind myself because it was just so blissful. And the minute I said that, I was like, no, I can't stay. I was instantly not on the Earth level. I was back to the reality with the glitch. I wasn't fully back on Earth. And that didn't make sense to me because I was expecting to see my friend next to me, and she wasn't there. So I was very confused and also full of bliss. I was still like beaming. And they put me in one last scenario. They said, okay, you can go back, but just hold on. I just need to show you something. And they put this being next to me that started morphing in shape. Like the face just started morphing into weird kind of evil. It was an
Oh.
evil presence.
Mm.
And they said to me, Rochelle, and I said to them, I'm scared, it feels like it's going to take my soul. I don't want to go with it. And they said to me, do you remember the bright light that you went to? And I said, yeah. This is all telepathic. They said, take that bright light and then just put it inside of you and you'll be fine. And then show that being some love. That's all they said. And they were gone. Well, gone. And that's what I did. I kind of built up the courage to look at it, and it kept on changing, like just changing its face and appearance, and it had the smirk, and then that's what I did. I took the bright light, I put it inside of me until I physically felt like I could explode. It was like almost coming out of me, and then I started saying this beautiful loving words towards this being, and I was like, oh, don't worry, you're just sad, you're just angry, it's fine. And it hated it. It was squirming, and it just absolutely hated the words I was saying to it. And I just loved it. And the minute I loved it, and I almost went in for like a hug, to be honest, it was gone. The last message they gave to me, they said, now that you have that, you can go back, but you need to tell everyone. And I forgot to mention, like when I was at this bright light, there was just this flood of information, of all the information that ever existed, just flowing through me. And by the way, I was atheist before all of this. I was completely atheist. So yeah, so coming back down to earth, I woke up, I was completely blue. I was blue. I was back down into earth now. My friend was next to me, so I knew where I was. And she was absolutely hysterical. She was on the phone and, telling people that she can't wake me up and I'm all blue in the face. But I woke up just laughing, and I woke up feeling so refreshed and so, I don't know, like rejuvenated. And I told them, it's fine. I know what happened to me. You don't have to tell me. And I told her, like, I died. I know I died, but we can deal with that after I tell you what happens. And she just didn't want to listen to my story. And I just wanted to tell the world what happened to me. So yeah, I did go to hospital eventually. I didn't want to go on the same day because I was just in such a blissful, completely blissful state. And yeah, I was diagnosed. I had an arrhythmia, so my heart doesn't like beat properly, and my hypertension is still there. But I had beings work on my heart after that experience, and I have to tell you that story after this. Okay. So yeah, I'm actually not, I wouldn't say cured, but I'm much healthier. My heart is like much stronger right now. So after my NDE, I just took it easy, and I had a lot to process, because even after my NDE, I still got messages from these beings. And it feels like when you get the message, it feels like I wasn't asking a question, but the answers came to me, even though I wasn't asking anything. So it was like, oh, you need to tell them, you need to just, and one of the messages was like, this is all a game. It's all for you. Once you pass this game, you come back. And I was like, wow, why are you telling me this? So yeah, I got a lot of messages, and it definitely changed my life completely. I was in corporate at the moment. I was working for a corporate company, a company that works on the jab, cures, the cure for the jab. Yeah. So I worked for a very big international company back then, and yeah, that all changed. I left my job. My life just completely, did a 180. You'd say that. Yeah.
Wow, that's so amazing. I wanted to ask about, well, first the beings. So the beings, were you able to see, or were they just light, or did they have a certain look to them, or?
Yeah, they were just light. But I think in order for me to see that they are beings, they shape themselves to be humanoid, like a human. So it's like an outlining of a human. But because if I just saw them, they would just be these 3 blobs of light. I wouldn't know what they were. So yeah, they did take a human shape or form.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then my other question was about, so this darkness that you saw, because I love how you said that when you were showing it love, it didn't like that. So were you shown that just in that reality, or here are you able to still see when something's dark? Or
Oh yeah, absolutely. They said there is definitely darkness here. I think that was one of the lessons. The first lesson was acceptance. So I was put in the hospital for acceptance. I need to accept the death of the physical. That's the first part of awakening, is accepting your death, that your physical body will die. And that is when people go through, you know, the dark night of the soul. And that's when they don't accept that you can die physically. So you go through all that emotions. It's like your body rejecting that idea.
oh wow.
Or your ego rejecting the idea. So my first lesson was acceptance. And I think it's also because I was atheist. So they needed to really show me, you know, that your physical dies. And the second lesson was with the dark being, you need to protect yourself, and you have way more light literally inside of you to overcome anything, the dark beings that are around us in this realm. So yeah, so that was a lesson for me, to literally show everyone that you can protect yourself, and you can just love it. Just love it. That's all you need, is just to love it. It'll go away.
Wow. So do you feel that will be the answer? Like, for example, when there's wars and all that kind of darkness?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't, that's why I don't even go to protests, or, protesting, it's like so counteractive. You're supposed to be doing it for the right reasons, but you go there angry. We'd rather go there in a positive way. It's the same way I look at life. It's like, rather do something with love. Even if you do it alone and by yourself, rather do it with love. I think that's the biggest lesson, was just love it. Just be positive about it. It might be hard or difficult, but that's the bottom line. Yeah.
It's interesting because not everybody talks about being able to see like the darkness, right? Like the darkness. So have you encountered since after your NDE experience, can you see it in people? Like, will you be able to see like certain dark things when?
Yeah, I think with most NDE, and I love listening to everyone's story. They all have a piece of the puzzle to share with us, for sure. But yes, when I came back, I think with NDE, it's your intuition changes. When they say awakened, it means your senses are also awakened. So what you see, what you feel, your gut feeling, that's all heightened. So when I came back, mine was completely heightened, my intuition. I could literally see when someone had darkness in them. We can get into the NPC conversation, but there was a lot of darkness that I could automatically see. And I had to deal with that, because that was very frightening for me. I had a little shop around the corner where they sold bread and, just a little tuck shop. And there was a grown man, an old man that used to serve us. And he's been serving us, running the little tuck shop for 10 years. And after my awakening, I went right up to him, and he couldn't look me in the eye. After my NDE, he couldn't look at me.
Oh, wow.
And it gave me such goosebumps, because I knew exactly why he couldn't look at me. And yeah, this is kind of a weird story, but he actually, I called him out, not verbally, but more like telepathically. And I said, oh my gosh, I can see who you are. I literally telepathically told him that, and he could not look me in the eye. And when I called him out and I said, you know what, you have so much darkness in you, you don't belong here, telepathically, yeah, he he passed away the next week. Like, I know, that is the first time I knew, like, I could see something in people. I could see like the darkness, whether they could see it or not. That was my first experience of a dark being, like a completely dark being. Or like, I would go into a place or someone's house, and I would just, when you get that eerie feeling, like something was just not right.
Yeah.
Mine was completely heightened after my NDE. I just couldn't walk into, like, even if it's a photo frame, and I'll be like, geez, you know, there's just something about that photo it's just creepy. Yeah. But yes, my intuition and seeing beings, dark beings, definitely, today I still see, well, I still sense it. Yeah, I still sense them.
Life may move fast, or it may move slow. I met a silly man who said he make it slow. We look up out towards space, or even at the sky. One day pass away, but never look inside. Breathe in, breathe out. Life is a maze, but we'll figure this out. I mean, human beings, I ain't got no doubt. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, sometimes you just feeling it, you know what I'm saying? You just feeling it. And I wanna feel this way forever.